Good day and welcome to today's Sport Rep Show. I'm your host, Limba Mupetami. Let's get into today's hit list. After almost 4 months without electricity, all basic services are now fully functioning at Windhoek's Independence Stadium after the Ministry of Sports managed to sort out payment with the city of Windhoek. The Windhoek municipality disconnected electricity at the 25,000-seat stadium due to unpaid bills, which the ministry admitted was caused by a delay in streamlining payments from their side. The disconnection affected the Namibia School Sports Union. However, all has been restored. The main sponsor of the Netball Premier League, MTC, has called on other corporates to rally behind Netball Namibia to improve the quality of the game. Fikameni Matthias said local netball can only be competitive if there are continuous competitions. His views were echoed by Imelda Nerongo, who said she was looking forward to 4 teams that will be promoted from the first divisions with the hope that they will be very competitive in order to avoid one-side matches. Well, of course, that ends today's hit list. Let's go for a break. When we return, we cross over to the Golden Oldies segment of the show. Today's Golden Oldies segment has Christy Van Vochel, the Vice President of Namibia Rugby Union, Lucas Nanyamba from Bank Windhoek Corporate Banking, Marco Wenk, the Managing Director of Namibia Breweries Limited. Check out this footage as they recently spoke at the launch of the upcoming Dr. Hage Geingob Rugby Cup match, which will see the Volviches face the Griquas on the 5th of November.
Chief Administrator, Namibia Sports Commission, President of the Namibia Rugby Union, Mr. Peter Tron, in absentia, esteemed sponsors of this historical event, MTC, Bank Windhoek, Namibia Breweries with Windhoek Draft. It is both an honor and pleasure to be hosting you here on home ground. Speaking of home, how excited are we to host home-sponsored teams, our very own Volviches and the Windhoek Draft Griquas from South Africa on the 5th of November. We are honored to have the opportunity to build on what the organizing committee of the Dr. Hage Geingob Cup have achieved over the years, and delighted that the game of rugby is receiving recognition of this magnitude and is brought closer to the Namibian people and the masses which we want to reach with our sport. We have been drawn in Pool A, consisting of host nation France, Italy, New Zealand, and Uruguay. From the attendance of this launch alone, I can tell that we are headed to facilitate a very successful Dr. Hage Geingob Cup and look forward to once again hosting you at our facility. We have the assurance that the team from the Namibia Rugby Union will go over and above in terms of organization and facilitation, ensuring that this first Rugby Dr. Hage Geingob Cup is successful, well attended, always to be remembered, aimed that we can do this again and create more partnered opportunities in the name and love of rugby. I wish the competing teams and staff all the best in training and preparation for this prestigious event, and look forward to having them on field right here at home. Thank you very much.
In absentia, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Namibia and Patron of the Hage Geingob, the Honorable Minister, Hartman Chongarero, Minister of Sport, Youth and National Service. Dr. Vicky Rastes, which was inaugurated in 2014 and has since played an instrumental role in sport in Namibia. We know that without such platforms, skill development and experience cannot be realized. I should also inform this gathering that this year, Bank Windhoek celebrates a momentous 40 years of banking excellence in Namibia. Operating and growing our business since 1982 to support the Namibia Rugby Union as they bolster our nation rugby team preparation for the 2023 World Cup in France. Namibia Rugby is all about community, all about the heart, and all about the spirit of the game. And they will have the support of us all as they take on the tough pool compromising of New Zealand, Italy, Uruguay, and France. There has always been admiration of this team who got up early to practice, got themselves ready for their daily lives, jobs, and then practice again after work before going home to see their families.
President Dr. Hage Geingob in absentia, and obviously representing him, the spokesperson, Dr. Hangari, the Honourable Minister of Sport, Honourable Agnes Chongarero, members of the NRU, as well as the players, and then also a very, very important stakeholder, members of the media, who I think will be instrumental in the future to support us to fill this beautiful stadium here behind me on the 5th of November. On behalf of Namibia Breweries Limited, I extend my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to yet again be part of the Dr. Hage Geingob Cup. We are delighted that after 2 years, the Cup will resume with sporting activities, and we fully embrace the opportunity to support this purposeful initiative by extending our sponsorship of $1.5 million in support of our national rugby team, the Windhoek Draft Witches. The role of sport in our society is one that should never be undervalued. Sport is an important agent for achieving greater health, and beyond the advantages of physical activity, can drive social change as a tool for unification, inclusion, teamwork, and perseverance. The ability to meet face-to-face today, and the mere fact that we are blessed to be able to launch this event, as many other events are currently happening throughout the country as well as the world, is a sign of how we as Namibians and everyone else have persevered throughout the pandemic.
The under-20 national team of Namibia has a date with Malawi tomorrow in their last group match at the COSAVA Championship. The Namibians faltered in their first match against Comoros 1-0 and 5-2 against South Africa in their second match. Here is head coach James Britz in a post-interview after their match against South Africa, and this of course is the Spotlight segment, so check this out.
Thank you very much, Coach. Welcome to the post-match press conference. Thank you, members of the media. Coach, a sad loss, of course. How did you find the match?
Look, it was difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, our boys, they only played one tournament during the year. The rest of the year, there was no football. As we speak now, there's still no football in Namibia. There's no league going on for the past how many years now. Not that it's an excuse, but you can see, you know, the level of the South African players and level of us. These boys are playing in the PSL and also in the first division. So you can see they were comfortable on the ball, they were fit. We did well in the first half, very well, but then we went down because of the lack of fitness. We never played a friendly game internationally, so we were just playing friendlies in our country, Windhoek. So our preparation was not okay, to be precise. And also, you know, look, they were just better than us on the day. We tried, our boys tried, but their level was different. First up, we could manage them, we could match them. We scored one goal the first 2 minutes or few seconds. They scored one, later we scored again, they scored again. As from there, you know, things were just going backwards for us because the level was too high for our players. simply because of a lack of football. If a kid doesn't play football, you will not improve. You have to train and you have to play football, and that's the difference between the two teams. Technically, they were good. You can see the level of players that they have, and also the level where they play, because PSL, First Division, and also the amount of games that they have behind the backs. Our boys just had a tournament. There's only one youth tournament or youth league that is going on, and that's in the capital city, Windhoek. And if you look at our team, most of the boys that started, most of them are not from are only from other regions. Only a few was from the capital that started. So that's our problem in our team: the lack of training and the lack of football.
Coach, your boys showed a lot of determination and good fighting spirit, but as you say, South Africa was tactically superior. What message were you giving to the boys on the field as things were unfolding?
Look, the only thing that we try to do is encouraging them. We try to encourage them, because when we were 2-2, our keeper made a mistake, and it's not the first time that he did a mistake. He also made a mistake in the under-23s, because what we did is we tried to push those boys to the under-23 team to have some game time as well. So he also made a mistake there. And when you are not at that level, when your mindset is not strong enough, and the goalkeeper makes a mistake like that, the whole team went down. And these are kids, only 2 boys played at this level. All of them are new players. So that's also the problem that we had. We tried to lift them. But unfortunately it didn't help in this game.
Obviously disappointed that you're unable to go through to the next round.
Very much. As a coach, you come here, you want to do well for the country as well. And also because 2 years ago we were there. But the difference of 2 years ago's team and this team is the lack of inexperience. There was no graduate from under 17 to under 20. Nothing from our team. Last time we had graduates. These boys played football, they played the Kosasa games, and then he came to under 20. And also they were active in football. Now here, this is the highest level for these boys. They only see it on television, they only hear about this, and now they come in reality. They play against guys that plays in PSL. For example, the striker that played on his son, that plays for Cape Town City. You watch the boy over the television. Now you're coming to play against him. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing for these boys, and it's a difficult thing. A lot of people might say, no, we are not good enough. But look, as a coach, there's different things that you need to work on, and we only prepared 3 weeks, and it's to get all those things done. The mental side, all those things, the technical side, the fitness, all those type of things. It's difficult. So the inexperience cost us this game. Even if you look at the game that they had against Comoros, no disrespect was there. We had better chances. We just didn't finish, simply because the inexperience. So that's where we are now. But it's room for improvement. We know where to go. We know what to do. But as a coach, you can only do that far, or that's far. You can't do extra. If the FA has to do the other parts, we have to play more games. The boys have to be in camp longer. They have to play more international friendlies and so forth. And that was the result of today, lack of games.
And coach, for the last match, will you be changing your side, giving other players a chance, or you just be trying to get at least a win from the tournament?
Look, it will be a decision of both. We'll have to give 1 or 2 chances, players a chance to play, but also at least to go back with a victory. I'm a coach that is result driven. In Namibia, it's a huge pressure. If you go on the social media now, you will see a lot of comments that the people will make, which will not be positive. That I can guarantee you now. So at least we need to get a result. So it will be a combination of both. We need to try to make changes and also to go for the result and see what happens.
Thank you, coach, and good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
From Omaheke region. Ochos on Jupa. Now attacking. Charge.
Crowd is clapping him on. With the strongest high jumper thus far. Nice go in the corner. The box is Concordia. Beautiful dummy over there by weekend. We're going to see more flow in good rugby. Everyone playing their
We now head over to a special segment for the Cricket World Cup, so stay tuned for that.
I'm gonna cross that river, Jordan. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Team Namibia are set to compete at this year's Cricket T20 World Cup, and Sport Rap is joined by former cricket administrator Laurie Pieters to share some cricket history. Pieters has been part of the administration since the early 90s, and his father was also a cricket player back in the day. This interview is a continuation of yesterday's part 1 interview that was aired on the show. For those of you that wants to catch up with part 1, you can still go on our Facebook pages. But for now, here's Laurie Pieters with part 2 of the interview. Please enjoy the interview and catch us again tomorrow with another fresh edition of the show.
With the legendary Laurie Pieters, a very informed administrator in Namibian sports. I've always been a follower, and since I started my journalism career, I've always counted on Laurie to give me something. But yeah, part 2 it's the 90s. Laurie, tell us more.
So in 1988, where we ended the first part of this interview, Southwest Cricket Union withdrew from the South African Cricket Board then, and we made application to the International Cricket Council. The International Cricket Council knew very little about us, so they sent a team here, the MCC, Marylebone Cricket Club, to look and investigate what was going on in the country, and also a team of very good players who'd represented England to play against the locals. Well, that was a very strong team. There were some names like Paul Parker, who was the captain. But they played 5 games, and the local team represented themselves very well. They weren't a walkover. The MCC went back, the team went back, and the management went back to England and said there's no reason why the Namibia, who changed from Southwest Cricket Union to Namibia Cricket Board, should not be accepted as a member of the International Cricket Council. In 1992, the news came through, the 12th of July, we'd been accepted. the Namibia Cricket Board had been accepted as a member of the International Cricket
Tell us
Council.
when this news came, Laurie, I just
Yeah.
wanted to know, how was the reaction?
The reaction was one of relief, but one of challenge, because when independence came, many South Africans went back to South Africa. They were mainly because they were employed in administrative posts, and they were offered the option of staying or moving back to South Africa. So more than the majority, 95%, decided to go back to South Africa. We were left with 60 players who could play cricket. 60 players.
Just 60 in the whole entire
Yeah, the
population.
whole. So that was basically 4 clubs. And the 4 clubs were United, Wanderers, Railways, and Walvis Bay. And we inherited a bankrupt organisation. We owed plenty of money. Southwest Cricket Union unfortunately left us with huge debts. So the challenges were enormous. The annual general elections were quite feisty and challenging, and a board was put into place of a few business people, including myself. I became chairman, and
That was in 90...
That was in 1991. And 1992 came the news that we'd been accepted as a member of the ICC. Well, we were fortunate to be able to negotiate sponsorship in the to sponsor the debt away. One of them was First National Bank, who sponsored us. They took over the debt for sponsorship naming rights. Well, it took us 2 years and we were out of debt, and in 1994 we were invited to the first ICC associate tournament in Kenya.
Yeah.
We had some good players, local players, and we did very well. We won the plate event, and we started building a development program was put into place to get in amongst the schools. A guy by the name of Kirk West took 2 schools, Emma Wagenet and St. George's, and started with the under 11s and under 13s, 4 teams. And under Kirk it grew and grew. We went into previously disadvantaged areas, what they called then.
The grassroots now.
Grassroots,
Like
and
level, yeah.
just to introduce cricket to the indigenous people. You know, from what I've learned, from what I've learned, a development program takes 30 years.
Yeah.
Before it starts to bear fruit. So if you were a development player, your parents knew nothing about this sport that the white people play, and only after the development players had grown up and started having children, and they said, yes, play cricket, it's a great sport. So virtually 30 years later,
I can imagine.
we have the first players coming through into club cricket and into national cricket.
Yeah.
So it was a massive challenge, and the board worked very hard. There were some really emotional moments
yeah.
between the non-white board members. And even to get a non-white person onto the board. And it seemed as though we were painting by plastering, by putting people of color on this board. It was never the intention.
Yeah.
The intention was to develop the game
cricket,
throughout
all
the
level, country.
So it has been successful, and the new board that's been there since 2018 have done wonders for development. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of children that have been exposed to cricket, and I think it's taken root amongst all the people of the country. So let's go back slightly. We did 1994, we went to the ICC tournament. The next one was in Malaysia. and we thought we were well prepared. We had an English coach by the name of Neil Lenham to take the team to Malaysia. What a disaster that was. We really struggled there. We burnt our fingers. The whole process of selection, we weren't ready. Cricket had improved through the non-test playing countries, and we really got smacked hard there.
Yeah. Record stumbled.
Really, it was a great disappointment to me. So we went to various ICC tournaments and that, and the results were a bit improving. Till in 2003, we went to Canada. We had no international coach. The local coaches were Lenny Lowe. Francois Erasmus was the manager, and they worked hard amongst themselves. They just worked hard. All the players were amateurs, and it was a hard slog.
Yeah.
And we went there, participated with 24 countries. The top 4 countries would go through to the World Cup in 2003 in South Africa. And we had to win 10 games in a row to qualify for the World Cup. And we did that.
Which was an incredible achievement.
It was a fantastic.
I mean, looking back at the way.
Yeah.
And how emotional was that for you, Laurie? Immense.
Well, I was there. And I sat next to Mr. Ali Bacher, who was a big name in the international cricket world. And we were playing Scotland. We had to qualify to beat Scotland. And we were in a bit of trouble. And Ali said to me, "You guys better do something now. You're going to lose this match. You're not going to qualify." So I said to him, "Watch this." So who do they bring on to bowl? Burton van Roy. I'm sure many people know who Burton was. And Burton van Roy took 6 wickets for 20 runs, and we won the match, and we qualified.
Was an incredible comeback.
And Burton was one of those players that had come through the development ranks and proved the talent that this country had. And we qualified for the World Cup in South Africa. So we went to South Africa, and we played the big teams. Boy, oh boy. We learned what cricket was about at international level. I mean, we had to play India, Pakistan, England. It was just a hard lesson. We didn't disgrace ourselves, but it was realized what you have to do to take the next level, to take the next step up. After that, we went to Ireland to qualify, and we thought it was a good chance to qualify for the next World Cup. Well, lo and behold, we didn't make it. We were overconfident, and it just didn't work out. Well, we came back, and a lot of hard lessons had been learnt, and the next steps had to be taken. You know, in sport, and particularly in this country, administration, we find administrators becoming entrenched in jobs. And not willing to move. And the cricket board did the right thing and said it's time for some of the older people to go, and let's bring in new blood. And that happened. And it was a challenge at first, but one can see the fruits and the results that have been picked now. Employed, we had CEOs. There was myself, and then came Graham McMillan, then came Donovan Zealand, and there was another fellow, he was an engineer, came in, he did excellent work. The board found itself in a lot of financial trouble and challenges, until they got a hold of Johan Miller, who's a professional, administrator.
Okay. Thank you, Laurie. Sorry for cutting you. That will be in our part 3 in terms of from Miller onwards and the World Cup now that we're playing. So stay tuned for part 3.